is ICT in the process of developing learning-to-learn competencies in lifelong learning transitions, and we want this to be a practical workshop. So we want you to discuss and share your ideas, and we also want to share ideas with you. Can you hear me properly here? Okay. And if you want to comment something, you can just raise your hand here, and I will let you speak. The structure of the face-to-face workshop will be like this. There is a plenary at first. We are introducing the theme of the workshop and our project, and then we will be dividing working in groups, but it seems that now when there isn't so many people, we will divide the groups in two, and then we will discuss in two groups about the different cases or approaches we have used in this project. And then in the groups we will present the outcomes for all the people here, and after that we work in groups again, and we hope that we can share some new ideas about the theme of the workshop. Present the outcomes in the groups, and then at the end we will discuss a little bit about how to guide, which is one product of our project, and we would like to introduce you to give your part, so that we can extend the how to guide, and then the conclusions at the end. So what is this Learn to Learn? This is a project, and it is funded by the Lifelong Learning Program of EU, and this Learn to Learn group is formed from multi-stakeholder or is it formed as a multi-stakeholder network, and our aim is to explore and promote the contribution of ICT and digital media in supporting the development of learning-to-learn competencies in lifelong learning transitions. And by these lifelong learning transitions, we mean the steps when people move, for example, from secondary education to higher education, or people who have finished their studies and they go to work and then they go back to study at the university again. And in our project, which is called Learn to Learn, also there are 9 European partners, and at the moment here are some of them, and in the European partner countries we have national focus groups which are created from higher education and secondary education teachers and students. And the project started in the beginning of this year, and it will end at the end of 2014. So we have 3 years time to develop these things. And in the bottom of this page you can see the address, the URL to our webpage, where you can find a lot of information about the projects and also the outcomes and all the documents we are presenting to the public. So why did we choose or want to develop these things? Why did we choose this topic? Obviously there are challenges in transition points of lifelong learning, and it is not very easy to adapt in a new physical or virtual environments when you change, for example, from secondary education to higher education. And in different phases of studies there are different teaching and learning approaches. For example, in Finland, where I come from, the teachers of higher education are a little bit worried about the students who come from secondary education, because it seems that they cannot manage themselves and manage their learning style so that it would be effective for higher education studies. And also there are study at all, and then when they start to study, they might take like 6 years for their master's degree. And the study time should be shortened and then go effectively to the working life. And students seem to lack learning to learn competencies which are necessary in higher education. And this might cause some dropout for the early years of higher education. And of course, if we think about the students themselves, if they don't feel at home in higher education, it is not very nice and it is not nice for them, and it is not a nice experience about higher education if they don't feel at home. Then if the students will have effective learning to learn competencies and they can develop themselves further, it is easier for learners to deal with the transitions. They don't feel so lost, and they can use their capacities much effectively. And we think, and there is also evidence by the research, that social networks, digital media, serious games, virtual worlds, e-portfolio and blogs, these might support development of learning to learn competencies. And also, if these kind of tools are used in a meaningful way in secondary education and in higher education, and if it is possible to use the same tools in these forms of education, then the transition phase might be easier for students. And it might affect the learning also. Then what do we mean by the learning to learn competencies? Here are some, but of course there are more. But we think that, for example, self-regulation it is an important skill to have when you study in higher education. And we refer with this to the skills that a student can modify their learning environment, and they can choose the learning strategies which are useful and meaningful in different learning situations. Obstacles and change, and in higher education and further, students should be quite independent. There will be some situations in their studies that they will face some problems, and they should try to solve those. Maybe not by themselves alone, but they should have the first feeling that they are responsible for their studies and lives. Then being creative, it is not emphasized too much, but it is an important competence. And then when we think about the working life today, the communication skills, they are very important, not only reading and writing, but also communicating and working in small groups and in teams. And then I think one very important thing is motivation and confidence. The students should know how they can motivate themselves if the learning tasks are not so interesting for them, or if they feel that maybe they cannot cope with the assignments. And also confidence is important. If you feel that your studying is worthwhile and you believe that you can manage the assignments, you will motivate yourself by this, and it's like a circle that you motivate yourself, and you will then also manage yourself better, and you will get better results. And of course, there are more learning to learn competencies. But now, Magdalena will continue from this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Päivi, very much. Now I will continue with what we have already done in the project, just a short presentation of the products, which we now, later on during the workshop, would like to share with you and, to discuss. Maybe you will have some impressions, suggestions, what we could change, what new approaches we can add. As Päivi told, the project started not so long ago, because it was in fact the beginning of this year, so we had only 6 months till now to do our research. It was like doing desk research, what already is on the web, what already existing web pages, blogs, e-portfolios are used by different teachers, students in different countries. So what was already available, in fact. Another thing was organizing in all partner countries focus groups that consist from teachers from higher education, teachers from secondary education, and also students and pupils. And we asked them if they use, what they use, how they use it, how they learn, how they teach, so this sort of thing, and also online questionnaires to gather as many results as possible about learning habits and tools that are used by this group. Well, in total, during our face-to-face meetings and also virtual focus groups, we gathered almost 400 people, in fact, and these were both teachers and students, and as you can see, from both sectors. So it was both secondary education and higher education. We divided, as the range of the tools that are already available is so broad, we divided them into, in the project, into 3 categories. These are all tools connected with social media and social networks. B, digital media, serious games, virtual worlds, and C, e-portfolio and blogs. So these were the division of the tools in the project. And slow down. Okay, sorry. Okay, so what are the outcomes from these meetings with teachers and students? Well, maybe here ICT tools used by teachers. Very different, in fact, as you can see. Of course, virtual learning environments, blogs, social media, different kind of social media, but also, as always, CDs with some presentations, with some games, digital games for students and teachers and pupils, and also interactive whiteboards. When we compared higher education and secondary education, and it turned out that in fact there are no big differences, if at all any. So it doesn't matter if you are a teacher in secondary education or in higher education. The tools that you are using are quite similar. Of course, it depends sometimes on the policy that you have in your country, sometimes on the policy of education policy and this sort of thing. But anyway, when we compare tools that were used by teachers from higher education, from secondary education in all 9 countries that participated in the project, it turns out that in fact no differences. The purpose of use. I don't know if you can see it very well, not really well, but in these different colors are a kind of groups of purposes. So the ones connected with communication, with collaboration, with working with group peer reviews. So these were one purpose of use why teachers want and try to use these tools in their teaching. Another thing is connected with promoting creativity, with making students solving their problems themselves. So these are the ones that you can see too well, in fact. Of course, stimulate motivation. it's something natural for young people, for students, for pupils to use these tools, but not in educational context usually. So they use them for contacts with friends and for different things connected with preparing for their classes, but it's not like that they are using them when they are in a regular situation in the classroom or during the studies. Of course, also things connected with self-management, with resource management. So this was the motivation for teachers. That was the purpose why they want to introduce these tools into their teaching. What advantages they could see? Of course, these advantages were a kind of, I would say, what they expected to have. So the purpose why they use it very often was for them also the advantage of using these tools. Of course, flexibility, availability of these tools, and very often that information that are put that way are just in time, are interactive, up-to-date information. So, that was something that they underline. What was also important for teachers, it was the thing that they can reuse quite easily this sort of information, this sort of materials that they have prepared that way. But also things connected to with student and with pupils. So this gives them autonomy. It's kind of personalization, part of a student's life mostly. But what disadvantages? Because there are always two sides. First of all, they underline quite often plagiarism. So it's easy to copy something and to paste it. So the teachers have to be quite careful when they check, for example, their students' works. Information overload, and it's both for teachers and for students, in fact, because it's really really time-consuming to pick up the information that are really good from variety of information that are available. What was also underlined was that very often students focus on the form, not on the content. So it's like that these tools, in fact, should be a kind of transparent. Students shouldn't think about what tools they are using, but what they learn from these tools. And of course, as always, some technological barriers that can appear, lack of personal contact sometimes, especially if these courses were totally online. During focus groups, we asked especially teachers who were not experienced with these tools too much to try. They didn't have too much time to try out these tools, but month, 2 months, just try one subject with our students to see how it works. And from this test use, we collected by now 52 scenarios, ready-to-use scenarios, and we will share the scenarios with you. Tools that were used in this phase, they were very, very different, in fact. It was like each teacher picked up something completely different from another and wanted to try it out with his or her students. Such a scenario, we just collected very basic information. We just wanted to know what level of students or pupils it was, what discipline, what tool, what for, and what were the advantages and disadvantages of using this tool. An example from Poland, because I'm from Poland, so it's quite near to me. The scenario used that was introduced at higher education at my university. A person who is a teacher at English philology and have classes from American literature. So she decided to try blog with her students. The aim was to share ideas about that have been developed during the course. The course was on sex and body in American literature, so also the subject was interesting for students, I suppose. Students were responsible for choosing the tool for blog, for designing it, I mean, graphics, etc., and for the input, so what information are in. These are the students that have done it. Of course, it started like 2 months ago, so it's still developing, but what was underlined by that teacher personally is that students were really very motivated, they were very excited about using it, and they felt that it's for them, and that they are the owners of it, because they were very involved in the process of preparing it, of designing it, and they have and they influence on what is on it. So the content was also a kind of their results of what they have found. Okay, I think everybody know what we have done during the project. We tried to introduce you to the subject because now it's time to do something together, and we would like to share some scenarios with you. As you can see, we are not so many people. That's why we decided with Baby that we won't split into 3 groups, but into 2 groups. I think it will be good. So, here, group with digital media. If anyone would like to change the group, because there we have social media and blogs and e-portfolios. So, who is interested in what, you're welcome to change the tables if you wish. And our first task is to look into the scenario that we have and to discuss them, to see what is your opinion about them.
Now I will try to take over the facilitation of our little webinar. I hope that the background noise is not going to disturb you very much in the background. As you can see, the group work has begun. So while the presential groups will do their tasks, we will do our own. I would like you, first of all, to follow the instructions that were shown on the previous screen. Hopefully you have all downloaded the scenarios for the Practice Exchange Forum PDF. And actually, if you want, you can also download the PowerPoint presentation if you would like to revisit the slides that were presented during the last half hour or so. I think some of the listed competences and findings, advantages and disadvantages are very valuable for you to revisit. So, for the first question, who are you? You can select more than one options. And for what your experience is with the ICT tool use, you will have to choose whether you have no experience, little experience, some experience, or strong experience. I see that for the second question, we have almost everybody responding. Let's take another few seconds for that, and then I can close the votes.
Only two people answered for the first.
Sorry?
You didn't close?
No, not yet, not yet.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so I will close the poll now. 3, 2, 1. One is closed. Closed. Do you see now? Okay, that's strange. I don't know what prepare means. You will have to excuse me because I haven't done this before. I don't know how to show the. That's what I pressed before. I'm sorry. Give me a second. I don't know how to broadcast results. No. Sorry, I wonder if you would mind answering the question, the first question again, because I think I made a mistake. Sorry. It won't take long. Now I know which button to press after all the responses have been received.
We can see.
Oh, you can see. Excellent. Okay, good. So it's broadcasted and still open. I'm sorry about the confusion. If any of you would like to prepare yourselves a webinar after this session, you can consult me. Can I please ask the others as well? There were more votes for the who are you before, and I'm really sorry that I made this mistake, but if you would mind pressing or selecting whether you are a secondary education teacher, a higher education teacher, a secondary education pupil or a higher education student, researcher, instructional designer, policy or decision maker, or an e-learning practitioner in a broader sense. Excellent. Okay, let's not waste more time with this. These are the results that you can see on the screen, and I consult myself as well. It looks good. We have the majority of you have at least some experience with the use of ICT tools. Those will be familiar with the questions that are asked today. And those of you who have no experience or little experience will certainly learn a lot from this exercise. And as I see, we have higher education students with us, and a couple of researchers and e-learning practitioners, as well as an instructional designer. Now we'll go to the next page, which will be basically our group work. And what I would like to do now is to open the practice exchange PDF, and you will have to read pages 1, 6, and 8. The first page is a scenario collected about the digital literacy transitions for students in higher education. And this is in the social media cluster that is tagged with the letter A. The second cluster is the digital media and serious games. And on page 6, you will find an example of Delicious to select and share useful content and resources. And on page 8, in the category C, which is standing for blog and e-portfolios, you will see selected the case about e-portfolios for developing knowledge about culture. You will not be able to change the three panes, the three notepads, and highlight whether you would be able to use one or many of the scenarios highlighted, how you could use it, what you find interesting and promising about it, and what are the bottlenecks and pitfalls that you can identify in the selected cases. Do not forget that the people who submitted these scenarios are also experimenting, so we are learning here together. I would also like you to write your comments beginning with the letter A, B, or C, so whatever observation you make, I can see which group it belongs to, and I can copy it into the necessary topic. Let's do it.
Perhaps separate each people in each group?
No, if they like, they can contribute to all of them. It's not that difficult. They can. If you don't have observations about all three of them, we should have time. But if you're more familiar or comfortable with one case or another, then just give your reflections on the selected case. Or, in fact, if you are from the country where the selected case is coming from. The first one is from the United Kingdom, as you will see. The second one is from Italy. And the third one from page 8 is from Poland. No problem, Craig. The exercise is as follows. There's one file that you see in the bottom left corner where the little window says File Share. Please click on the Scenarios for Path portal, which is a PDF file, an 11-page long PDF file with selected cases. And these are the cases, the scenarios that my colleagues
see very well.
Okay. Is it more visible now?
Yes.
Okay. So the other people who are sitting in the room are studying also three cases from this 11-page document. Excellent. I'm very happy to hear that somebody is finding the cases exciting. So, and the activity should be to study the presented cases. It's just a one-page table, and see how you could use the tools in your practice, or just imagining using the tool, what you would find promising about using that tool and about the scenario. And what would be what would present a difficulty or a bottleneck. Excellent. We have the first one. And I think, Veronique, you do have to pay for it now. That's correct. Oh, it's very nice to see that multiple attendees are typing. I'm very much looking forward to keeping up with the copying and pasting. Mohammed Ahmed too, I suppose you logged in twice, says that the scenario A is most interesting. If you think that you would like to address the social media topic more broadly and not just focusing on the selected scenario, please feel free to comment what you think about that. That's a very strong and very good point, Eva, about the tutoring and the special competences that are needed for tutoring. Excuse me, Joel, I am not familiar with the term IUFM. Could you please tell us what that stands for, the acronym, or am I supposed to know? The IUFM? Do you know what IUFM is?
UFM, it's a school for teacher.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Thanks. Very good, very good. I am very happy that we are exploring the cultural sides of the question as well. And political, if you like. Point, Eva. Oh, thank you. There's finally delicious comments. That's very delicious. You know, I don't know what the face-to-face groups are doing, but I think they're doing really well here in the webinar room. Everything is relevant. It's a brainstorming session. This is the best we can do with the use of technologies like this one. In fact, maybe this is a shortcoming or a disadvantage of using social media. After all, this is what we are doing at the moment. The webinar is some kind of social media. Maybe it is a barrier that people feel like some thinking out loud. Well done. I'm not very familiar with the Scoopit myself, and it was ages ago that I have used Delicious, but I think they are very similar in the purpose of use. So Rachel, the personal data stored would relate to which cluster, A, B, or C? C. Thank you. Well, I'm only supposed to be the facilitator in here, but your last comment about the personal data, it's a whole different discussion about what kind of personal data can be stored or shared or used. There's a lot of confidentiality issues, and they're all different in different countries. So I don't know if the teachers can use any of them. Can either of you, Gerard or Joel, give an actual spelling of the IUFM, what it stands for?
Yes.
Just type it in the chat box, please. May I also ask the others if they are still with us, just observing the
school for secondary education teacher.
Is it a specific school? So it's not an easy.
It's inside in university, but it's for teacher, secondary teacher. Around the sentence.
Be as precise as it's possible. So, for example, to add some case studies, precisely describe whether the blocks are individual by students or for all the group, etc., etc. So, smart object is basic measure to actually work. Relevant time bound as always work. Maybe as a final statement, I'll just simply read the most interesting titles of the most interesting case studies. So for scenarios of the use of ICT, we have the case studies from UK. The tool was a blog, a campus type blog, a plugin into Blackboard, and the main, it was at the level, postgraduate level. Online is not any professional development program for lectures and colleges, so it was the first and most interesting, it was inspired one. Next, we have the case studies from Poland, developing knowledge about the culture of Spain and Latin America using the portfolio, and from France, a sociology, education, psychology blog, where students describe their daily experience in French university. And for social media, and one from Spain, practical internships on Facebooks, and from Italy, some delicious collaboration among students on a given project. So that's for us. Thank you very much. And how are you?
Examples of use of ICT, and there is one online system of self-evaluation and tutoring, and then we have delicious, how delicious can be used for secondary education, and one game-based education platform called Collage, which aims to support game-based education.
and we discussed mostly about the system that is developed to develop learn-to-learn competencies, and then we discussed a little bit about this collage platform. And what we found interesting in this system that is made to support learn-to-learn skills. Would you like to say something? Because you somehow interesting.
Okay, I think we decided that the whole idea of having such a course was a good one for university students, even though we didn't have something like that, say, 20 or 30 years ago. That we thought it would be something that would help people who previously had failed at university. Also that there was a good business case for it, so that it would help universities attract students from outside, perhaps from other countries. What else?
Well, we discussed about using these kind of systems that are online. That it is important that they are not just left to the students that please use this, but some kind of discussion online or in groups is linked to the use of the online support systems. So that makes the students feel more comfortable, especially this was used in the beginning of the studies, and the students need to get friends and get familiar with the higher education system. So the discussions with other students is important.
Also that it was mandatory. That was key to the success, that it was a mandatory thing for students to do.
Maybe it's really just the fact that maybe the thing that the students enjoyed the most was this social ways of discussing among them or with the teachers, or for what I understand, for the tool itself. It's really what the time is.
I want some extra, so I will give you this example.
Okay, so thank you very much for the presentation. Just a chance to move on over the and now this next part. So looking forward for your suggestions, for your experiences, how these tools we can use in order
I didn't hear very well with should just continue the discussion.
Yes. Okay, so now what happened? I heard from my colleague that the sound was not very good, but the face-to-face groups have just finished presenting their findings about the scenarios, and they will begin their second 15 minutes collaborative work when they will do what we are doing right now. So we can just continue brainstorming about the ways we can use these tools. I don't know if you could catch some of the interesting observations of the groups, the presential groups. There was one about how making the use of the selected ICT tools mandatory for the students could enhance successful use. But also the inclusion of certain ICTs can attract students from foreign countries, so it could be a good decision on policy for certain institutions. That's okay. Thank you very much, Veronique, especially for your active contributions. And we will re-watch the recording and try to type down the findings of the face-to-face groups as well, and send you. Actually, I'm saying that we will send you the findings, but I do not really have your contact details. So if you would like to be contacted about the findings, please send an email to is it E-Info@? I think this is the email address for those of you who have to leave soon. But, do you remember if this is the correct email address? Is this the public email address?
Yes, I think so. I will check if you want.
Yes, that would be lovely. And we will continue working.
Okay, so the right address is this one.
Okay. Oh, sorry. A little slow. Okay, so if you send a request by email to this address,
okay,
that's the right address, and we will send you the summary of the meeting. And yes, now that we're in the second phase of the brainstorming, we're still working on the three groups: the social media A, digital media and serious games B, and blog and e-portfolios C. I would really like to hear the opinions of those attendees who are quiet. And some of the participants seem to be very active, and they contribute with great ideas. But if the others could just say if they agree or if they disagree or would like to challenge the statements in any way, please feel free. If we have a native speaker amongst us, what's the horizontal line called? I think it's a hyphen or a dash. This. Okay. No, I'm hoping it is. Anyway, let's forget about the hyphens and dashes and direct our attention back to the task. So we're still brainstorming about how these three clusters of competencies can be used to help to improve learning, to learn competences. It's probably time now. We exhausted the scenarios that we read on pages 1, 6, and 8. So we can probably have now a more general discussion about social media, digital media, and serious games, blog and e-portfolios. I personally would be very interested if anybody has experience with serious games. that is something that always interested me, and hardly ever saw positive or negative examples. Okay, happily observing that there are multiple attendees typing again. Let's hope that there will be some additional comments, and if there aren't many comments left, then we can start wrapping up the discussion. I think we did a good job anyway.
Some problem?
Can the others hear me well?
Can you?
I can see that, but I wonder
okay.
if yes, and the others can hear me.
Okay.
Thank you for the confirmation. Thank you also for the comments on the scenarios also being interested because they can be applied whenever they are faced with user groups with less degree of digital literacy, not just the kids and young adults. So I don't know where I can put that remark because it is an overarching observation about how these skills can help not just transitions in education from wherever to wherever, but also just facilitating any kind of motion, I think. I wonder what you mean by the continuation of the work. If you are interested at how the project will continue working, because why are you apologizing, Eva Salman? So I think if you would like to be informed about the continuation of the work of the Learn to Learn project, we will step into the next phase very shortly, and there will be a presentation about how we are working on a user guide roadmap, if you like, that we will address to the practitioners and summarize our research findings, and they will be called how-to guides and implementation guides in the 3 clusters mentioned above. Oh, no, Eva, that's okay. I think they relate to all 3 strands, so no code was needed. I understood that. And if you're interested at what happens now here in the webinar, Joel, I think what we could do if we run out of ideas is you can probably read the rest of the pages of the PDF file. There are other examples or scenarios.
so scared nowadays that they think they are so as soon as they get bigger.
Very good observation about the assimilation. I will have to create a different notepad for these comments, these overarching comments, because I think they're very important for the work of the subgroups, the working groups. Do you know, Gerard, or anybody, if there are repositories of such videos and materials and I wonder if there are any repositories. I know. It's pretty good. Once the observation is finishing in a minute, so I'm like, if you could, just resend. I took all contacts from the people who participated. I asked for them as well. Yes, I said, so if they're at the beginning of next week,